program cattle. Is it worth it? We talk traceability tags. We've got lots to cover. Crew, let's ranch it up. Good day, everyone, and thanks for riding with us on this all-new episode of the Ranch It Up Radio Show. I'm Jeff Tigger Earhart.
And I'm Rebecca Warner, a.k.a. Beck.
A big thank you goes out to our partners, ranchchannel.com, the world-famous Miles City Buck and Horse Sale. We're there literally as you're listening to this. Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the American Gelbvieh Association, Imogene Ingredients and Pharmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station. Cow Country News, you know, the cow stuff.
We have a lot to cover this episode, so we're going to be jumping in and out of news. First one off the press, Alabama is now the second state in America where cultivated meat cannot be manufactured or commercialized, as Governor Kay Ivey on Tuesday signed a bill, SB 23, that includes that cultivated meat ban. Violating the law will be a Class C misdemeanor, which carries a possibility of up to a 3-month jail sentence and a fine of $500. The new law takes effect October 1st, 2024. Florida became the first state to pass such a ban earlier this month, with Governor Ron DeSantis signing the bill, SB 1084, into law on May 1st, 2024. Our next story, after months of waiting, there is movement on farm bill legislation in Congress. On May 2nd, both the House and Senate provided farm bill proposals. The USDA has been operating on a 1-year extension of the 2018 Farm Bill. This is set to expire on September 30th, 2024. Areas taking top priority in the two bills are conservation, nutrition programs, and energy alternatives and incentives. Deeper in the proposals, emphasis is placed on beginner farmers and ranchers. Lending is of concern with such high interest rates and lack of credit options. Under the credit title in the House's Farm Bill proposal, finance options are enhanced for new, young, beginning, or veteran farmers. It also gives focus to commercial lenders' ability to be a reliable source of credit and capital. Beyond Meat makes the news again. Beyond Meat reported another sharp decline in revenues for its first fiscal quarter and net losses that were slightly improved from the same period a year ago. The company reported top-line revenues down 18%. And finally, our last story. In an April study among 1,700 U.S. consumers, 210 Analytics found that 34% of consumers are worse off financially now than they were 1 year ago. However, year to date, fresh meat sales continue to increase by 1%. That's it for the news. Up next, we talk program cattle, traceability, and lots more. The Ranch It Up Radio Show will be back after this.
Why not give Gelbvieh and Balancer bulls a try this year? Raise replacement females with added fertility, increased longevity, and greater productivity. Get increased performance, improve feed efficiency, and increase the carcass merit. Maximize crossbreeding with Gelbvieh and Balancer.
Hey, it's Mark Banzi with LivestockMarket.com.
Every week we hear from one of our great partners with updates, info, schedules, reports, and everything in between when it comes to buying and selling livestock and hay online and private treaty. LivestockMarket.com.
Get ready for the Western experience of a lifetime. The world-famous Miles City Bucking Horse Sale is back and better than ever. Join us May 16th through the 19th in Miles City, Montana. From the finest bucking stock to electrifying horse racing, this event has it all. Don't miss out on the kickoff concert featuring Josh Turner and special guest Chancey Williams. Mark your calendars and saddle up for the world-famous Miles City Bucking Horse Sale, where the spirit of the West comes alive. Get your tickets at buckinghorsesale.com. The quick, fast, easy, all-in-one location to look at bull sales. Head to ranchchannel.com. Check it out on your phone. ranchchannel.com. All the information on one page at your fingertips. Videos, catalogs, everything. ranchchannel.com.
Cattle market reports to various news stories. The Tri-State Livestock News covers it all. Check us out at tsln.com. Subscriptions or advertising, call Tracy Hawk at 406-951-3211. The Tri-State Livestock News, what ranchers read.
Cattle Battle.
Welcome back to the Ranch It Up radio show. It's the most information packed into a 30-minute program that you can find, and it's your all things ranching newscast, and so glad to be hanging out with y'all. Questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, rants, it doesn't matter. You can call or you can text us at 707-RANCH-20. That's 707-726-2420. Our email is ranchitupshow@gmail.com. You can message us on Facebook as well, and prowling around social media at Ranch It Up Show. We have had many of you reach out lately and share your thoughts on everything from EID tags to avian flu to program cattle to consumer awareness. First, thank you to each and every one of you that reached out. Now, I don't care what your opinion is, what side of the fence you are on, where you stand on what issue. Every comment and opinion is very important to us. So let's start attacking some of these questions, shall we? Now, first, we're going to talk program cattle. Is it worth it? How do they work? Will I recoup my investment dollars into said program? How much does it cost in the first darn place? There's a lot of questions, so let's start whittling them down. I got the chance to talk with Doug Stanton, the Vice President of Sales and Business Development for IMI Global. IMI Global provides third-party verification for a number of programs such as Source and Age Verified, Breed Verified, NHTC, non-hormone treated cattle, Verified Natural Beef, Care Certified, just to name a few. All right, Doug, here we go.
I think a lot of producers have a hard time relating of bottom line, spending X amount of dollars. Let's just get to the bottom line here. Spending X amount of dollars per head. I have to pay to be in the program. I have to have an auditor that has to come out. And auditors, it's more of almost like a consultant, y'all. I have to say that. It's almost more like a consultant because you work together to come up with a plan of attack here. But I think they have an evaluation, yes, I think is the best way to say that. So I know for a fact that when we talk about these cattle that are sold, especially on video with our partners, Northern and Superior and Western, and I know there's a number of other video companies out there, that they have supplied us with data that have said these calves, these program cattle, sell for X amount of dollars. So why is it that a lot of producers have an issue? Is it because it's not something that's guaranteed? It is perceived value that, yes, we have gone through this program. We have become age and source verified. So why is there that disconnect that a lot of producers out in cow country just have a hard time coughing up that money to be able to get in these programs? I know that's a hard one.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good question. A lot of it has to do with how they market their cattle and who they market their cattle to. So let's back up and look at it. For example, if they market to Superior and we talk to them all the time, I'll do whatever my rep tells me to do. And if the rep is progressive and he's watching these programs and he understands it and he's seeing the premiums, then he's promoting that to his customers. There's other reps that are sitting back, maybe a little more conservative and saying, I don't know if these really pan out yet. Some sales I see the premium, some sales I don't. They don't sell much different than commodity cattle. So I don't know if it's worth your investment or not because you aren't guaranteed. Nope, there is no guarantee. And so I think that's where it is on the rep side of it. And then I think the same thing happens on private treaty people. If it depends on what that buyer is telling them they want. And if the buyer says, I don't care if you're in the NHTC program, I'm going to still buy your calves. I've been feeding them for 10 years. I know what they can do and whether you go in NHTC, don't do it on my behalf because I'm not going to pay you anymore. Because I'm going to buy and pay for your cattle based on the history because I know what they'll do. So I think a lot of it has to do with where they're marketing their cattle, how they're marketing their cattle, and the message that's coming back from their buyers. Or from buying the video, who they're tied to or who they've been working with.
No, I mentioned it earlier tonight at our meeting, just kind of threw the question at you, and that's the word premium. And I'm bringing this up again because more and more people, y'all know this, more and more people that I've had on the program are optimistically cautious, maybe is what I'm trying to say, where we can't do things like the way we've always done. We know that. But of what we think is a premium today, tomorrow, everybody's saying this, and I believe it too, that it's going to become a standard. And I threw the question at you, is there the possibility, in your opinion, I know I'm pinning you down with this, but that there could almost be a cattle discounted, that maybe it's not that quote unquote premium that we're used to saying, but those cattle maybe aren't going to capture the dollars of what that future standard, I think, is going to be.
Yeah. I think of our programs, and we talked about that a little bit in the meeting when you addressed that question, I think source verification could do that. I think there's enough people that we've talked to on the brand side, on the packer side, and they say they love, if I just had source verification, that'd be good enough. And at least I could tell customers where the product came from. And so I believe that there'll be a point in time, whether, we'll get into the voluntary and mandatory later, but that's what source verification is traceability. And if source verification, I think, could be a place where if you're not involved and can at least do source verification and have an EID tag where you have traceability back to your operation, then you could be locked out of some markets. Or you could, or as I mentioned in our discussion, or one or two less buyers.
So now you say in the word traceability, and that's going to lead me right into this. Let's just dive in the water on this of mandatory versus voluntary EID. Again, I'm going to reiterate, I appreciate every single producer, either you're for or against, it doesn't matter, voicing your opinion and why you feel the way. That, number one, is extremely important. Number two, is this almost, in a way, setting the stage of what could possibly come? And the reason that I say that is because we work for the consumer. And I know a lot of people are going to say, no, their person in Chicago doesn't know anything what we're doing out here. No, they maybe don't know the day to day, but they are a representation of the whole. And it seems like we are going more and more down this road. However, it does seem, because this comes up every single year, with more and more emphasis of traceability. So do you think, and I'm just going to put you on the spot, Doug, that's what I do. Do you think that we are going to be moving into this position where it's going to become the normal, that we will have to have some sort of traceability back to our outfits?
Of course, we're all for voluntary traceability. We always have been. These are voluntary marketing programs that we do, and
pick what works best for you and your management.
That's right. But have traceability. And I think let's go back to, and we brought this up in the discussion that we had internally. Look what the BSE cow did and what it did to our market. What would a hoof and mouth do of one animal? That BSE situation and what it did to our market for the next 2 years for sure, before we finally got back into that market and started to see movement of product back to Japan.
Which was very slow, by the way. It was dribble.
Absolutely. So if we have a hoof and mouth, that won't only be one country. We'll be locked out of a lot of countries. And the consumer, U.S. consumer, that was an export program. That had nothing to do with domestic at the time when BSE hit. That cow did not affect our domestic market that much, mostly export. But it would affect the consumer. With today's technology and social media and everything else, look what we would be fighting if we have one hoof and mouth.
I don't even want to think what that would do.
No. So we know what that BSE cow did. I think it's a perfect example of what can happen. And so we're all for it, but we feel like the voluntary route's the way we want to go.
You know, I agree with you that they're 100%. And I think almost all of us do. We hear the word mandate and we all kind of back up because we don't want to be forced in.
Who's going to buy a tag?
Exactly right. Exactly. Who's going to pay for the tag? Who's going to read the tag? But there is that correlation of traceability with these programs in a not a biosecurity level, which yes, that's kind of, we've moved into that topic, but we're talking with these program cattle from a management standpoint, because one of the things that you had mentioned is with that EID tag, and again, this is voluntary, and this is what I did find fascinating, and you used the word data point, is exactly what you had mentioned, is every time that particular calf goes through the chute and that tag is read, it creates what you said, quote, a data point, a entry of what is the condition of that calf. Are they being treated? All of those sorts of things. And just imagine what a person can do with that amount of knowledge and power and getting that feedback, because that's one of the hardest things that we struggle with is most of us cow-calf producers, we never get to see our cattle on the rail. Other than the one or two that we put in our freezer, right? We never get a chance to actually see the fruits of our labors. We really don't know. We're trying to gain some of this feedback. But now, correct me if I'm wrong, with the addition of an EID tag through one of your programs, we will be able to capture a fair amount of this data. Won't we? Or does it kind of end there at kind of the packer?
It ends at the buyer level.
Ends at the buyer level. Okay.
Because the buyer, and still today, the buyer he owns the information, and we keep security of the information of both the ranch level and the buyer level and everything within our system is very, very high priority for us. So we're not going to share that information. It's up to the buyer of the cattle if he shares it back to the ranch of origin. Now, the EID tag is the only way that's ever going to happen, because they're not going to write down yellow 114 and get that back to
crazy bald steer that ran me up the fence, right?
Yeah, that goes back to Tigger's operation. Oh yeah, no problem. Right. So I'll share that with him. So we have to have an EID tag, because in these packing plants, they are reading those tags, and then they can tie it to the trolley, and then they can get all the carcass information. And there are programs. We work with two of them right now. The Prime Pursuits program is sharing information back to an EID, back to the producers of the cattle they're buying in that system. Adams Land of Cattle with Tyson on that new brazen beef brand that they've launched, they are giving back carcass information and feedlot information. So those are two programs that I can say today that we work with that producers can participate in, and they will get carcass data back.
Thanks so much, Doug Stanton with IMI Global. I know that's a lot of information to digest or let marinate per se, but I wanted to start throwing this at y'all so you can start the process of thinking of where you need to position yourselves when you start looking at marketing your calves. Have those conversations with your reps and your buyers now. See what works for your outfit. Ask questions. Fire them our way. We'll ask the questions. And remember, you know what happens when you do nothing? Nothing. For more information from IMI Global, and I know lots of you use these folks, head to imiglobal.com. And next week, we will look at other types of programs available and visit with producers that are using certain programs and just get their opinion of good, bad, and indifferent. Okay, a lot there. Time to take a break. Coming up, we talk numbers, horse sales, and lots more when we come back right here on the Ranch It Up Radio Show. Want to add just a little bit of spice to your event, your customer appreciation supper, your banquet, your meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Well, bring in us, Beck and I, as your keynote speakers, hosts, MCs, a host couple. We'll make them laugh, even cry tears of joy. Call us today. Cryptosporidium, coccidiosis, scours. Do I have your attention now? Don't let scours affect you this calving season by feeding Pharmatan from Imogene Ingredients. But you gotta get it into your cows now. I've been saying it a lot. Head to pharmatanusa.com.
Increase herd performance, complement your forages, get more cows bred. It's upcycling and efficiency, powered by Westway Feed Products. At Westway Feed Products, we create cow herd efficiency one lick at a time.
At Allied Genetic Resources, it's all about commercial customer success.
We see that charge, we understand that charge, and we're going to use all the tools we can to get there.
To maximize heterosis, purchase your next herd sire from an Allied Genetic Resources partner. Just head to AlliedGeneticResources.com. Get ready for the thrill of a lifetime. The world-famous Miles City Bucking Horse Sale is back, featuring one of the largest one-day match bronc riding events on the planet. Join us on Sunday, May 19th at the fairgrounds for a PRCA-sanctioned spectacle where over 30 elite bronc riders compete for a massive $50,000 purse. Let's add to the excitement with pari-mutuel wagering. Visit buckinghorsesale.com for a full schedule and tickets. The world-famous Miles City Bucking Horse Sale in Miles City, Montana, where the spirit of the West comes alive. Welcome back to the Ranch It Up Radio Show. It is that time in the program. We check in with Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated. We recap the markets from last week, try to get a few tidbits maybe in what's to come. So, Kirk, what's going on?
Well, what your listeners don't know, Tiggers, I'm a little bit late getting this done for you because I'm out trailing cows to grass, so it's grass season here up in Montana.
Well, 'tis the season. You got to make hay when the sun is out, right?
That is true. Get them cows out to summer grass for sure. As of Friday, May 10th, August feeders closed the week at $250.50. That's down $4.32.5 on the week, with the CME feeder index down $1.78 at $240.61. That left the basis, or the difference, a positive 181 versus May futures. June live cattle closed the week at 176. That's down 82.5 on the week, with cash trading 184 to 186 in the south and 186 to 188 in the north. That left the 5-area weighted average down $1.17 at 185.25. And the basis versus June futures, a positive $9.10. That's a very wide basis for this time of year. Weekly slaughter came in at 622,000 head. That was even with last week and 22,000 head lower than the same week last year. Choice boxes closed the week up 37 cents at $294.57. Again, the area where we need boxes to catch a little bid to get this market going. December corn did have a good week if you're a seller. It closed the week at $4.9225. That's up 9.5 cents on the week. Friday the 10th saw a bullish WASDE report with lower than expected global stocks and a market focused on flooding in Brazil and freezing in Russia. Keep in mind that this report still called for an increase in ending stocks year over year for the U.S.
Hey all, Mark Van Zee with equinemarket.com. Coming up this Wednesday, May 22nd, we have our monthly online horse auction. Bidding opens at just $100, no reserves. All horses will sell. Featured lots include Bella, a Percheron mare, 12 years old with a heart of gold. She's registered, but the papers are lost. She's a proven brood mare and a great dam. She can be ridden, but she's not started on driving, and she's in Azeel, Texas. Frank the Tank, a quarter horse gelding, 15-year-old chestnut. He's well-rounded, good-minded, easy to catch, load, tie, and groom and saddle. One-hand neck reins and a dependable stop from Fisher Farms in Decatur, Illinois. Bourbon, a miniature stallion. He's 3 years old, red roan Tabino stallion. He's 36 inches tall, has got great conformation. He'd be great for breeding or riding from Blazing My Way Ranch in Weatherford, Texas. Skip Sand Hickory, a quarter horse colt, bred for performance, cutting cow horse, smart. And he's got halter world champions in his bloodline from JG Ranch in Loveland, Texas. Sir to Skip, a quarter horse colt, beautiful paint colt. He'll be tall, well-built, good-minded, bred for performance with world champions in his pedigree. He'd make a great stallion from JG Ranch in Loveland, Texas. Caramel Corn, a Shetland pony gelding, 5 years old, pony cross. He's 10 hands tall, broke to ride, kid safe, beginner safe, super easy to handle, loves attention from New Edge Training in Ocala, Florida. Goldie, a Mustang mare, 7-year-old Palomino mare. She's 14 hands, fully titled, and comes with Wyoming brand inspection. Started in the halter from Crown H Ranch in Worland, Wyoming. Spirit, another Mustang mare, 6 years old, buckskin, 14 hands, also titled, got the brand inspection, also started with the halter breaking from Crown H Ranch. And Sir You Are Red, a quarter horse colt, 2 years old with performance bloodlines that go all the way back to various world champions from JG Ranch in Loveland, Texas. Bidding opens at just $100 and is currently live, but all horses will sell the morning of Wednesday, May 22nd. Got a horse to sell? Regular online horse auctions, fourth Wednesday of every month on equinemarket.com and auctiontime.com.
When's the last time you questioned why you manage cattle and resources the way that you do? Hey, I'm Shay, and in this podcast episode, Caitlin Word shares how ranchers can start evaluating their operations and apply the 6 soil health principles to fit their business models. Here's a taste of the conversation.
You know, there's things that have been done traditionally, and I don't say that in a bad sense. It's just the way that we've always done things that we don't really question because it just makes sense because it's how we've always done things. Question them. like question those things and say like, why, if something's a pain in the butt for you, do it differently, or think about doing it differently. Be like, why is this a pain? What can I do to alleviate it? And honestly, what is the worst that could happen?
Listen to the full story by searching for Casual Cattle Conversations on your favorite podcast player. Happy ranching, folks.
I tip my hat to you, from one legend to another.
Before we say fare thee well, we want to give a big old tip of the hat to all of the seniors, whether it is college, it is high school, it's even kindergarten graduation. Congratulations to you all.
And checks are in the mail. We haven't
Right.
even started our list yet. I mean, I think we're going to have to take out a small loan to be able to pay for all of them we've had this year, But yeah, congratulations to each and every one of you, and the moms and dads and the parents and everybody out there too.
Absolutely, because you know what? It takes a village to raise that next generation.
There you go. And now that's going to wrap it for today. A big thanks from our crew to yours, starting off with Doug Stanton with IMI Global, Shay Keister-Warner with Casual Cattle Conversations, Kirk Donsbach with StoneX Financial Incorporated, Mark Vanzi with EquineMarket.com, and the boss lady Rebecca Warner, a.k.a. Beck. But I need to also say thank you to all of you that reached out and fired us your questions and your comments. We appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Now, a big thank you to our partners, RanchChannel.com, the world-famous Miles City Buck and Horse Sale, Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the American Galvy Association, Imogene Ingredients, Pharmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Allied Genetic Resources, Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station.
And crew, so glad y'all came with us one more time as we ranch it up. Be sure to follow and like us on Facebook at Ranch It Up Show. Our email is ranchitupshow@gmail.com. You can call and you can text us 24/7 at 707-RANCH-20. That's 707-726-2420. Spread the good word and join us again next week where it's always Tigger and Beck approved.
Stay ranchy and ranch it up.